Alright, look, I know a 15th place finish for Manchester United is crap, especially with all of our main rivals comfortable sitting at the top of the league. I know that no European football means that we're crap, especially given the way that we lost the Europa League final. United is a sleeping giant with no money, a lack of new signings, and a lack of urgency to complete deals. Oh, and who can forget about the difficulty we always seem to have when trying to sell players? Sounds about right for a team that finished 15th place last season. The situation does look pretty bleak, but what if I told you next season will be better? Before I begin, let me just say that I'm not delusional. I've been a Manchester United fan since I was 7, so I definitely know the difference between a great team and whatever this team is supposed to be. My reasonings in this video are contingent upon Man United signing the correct players to fit this system, and also the correct systems being put in place within all sectors of the club, such as the recruitment, the medical staff, and Ruben Amorim's tactical alignment. Which actually leads me into my first point, which is Ruben Amorim. My first reasoning is the gaffer himself. While I don't entirely agree with his system, I like his ruthlessness and determination. He's already shown numerous times that he's not afraid to change the status quo, and that player power cannot coexist within his philosophy.
I think it's really clear that we have to set some standards. That's all.
Other managers have tried to impose authority over some of these overpaid, overplayed, and egotistical footballers, but the financial side of the club always prevailed over the performances on the pitch. Amorim took a sporting team fighting for an identity and looking to end a 19-year title drought to league champions within 1 year, and he wasn't afraid to make big changes along the way.
Well, so what, fam? United finished 15th, they lost the Europa League final. How is this a strong case for Amorim? You have no ball knowledge.
First of all, stop yelling. Second of all, Amorim had a full preseason at Sporting to embed his philosophy and ideas into his players and staff. With the lads joining up at Carrington for the start of preseason, there's a real opportunity for the players to mesh better together. The past few years, the United squad has looked disjointed, and this has been evident with the defensive issues we saw at the start of last season. After a terrible start to the Premier League campaign, Amorim joining the club in the midst of turmoil probably wasn't the best decision, but he embraced it, which also meant he had to accept the squad he was inheriting for what it was. The issue Amorim faces with these players lies within the identity that some of them have adopted. Take Harry Maguire, for example, a player who has come under a lot of scrutiny at United, which is fairly justified since he came for such a big price tag. For all the late winners and equalizers he scored for us last season, truth be told, he still slows down our tempo tremendously when he's on the ball, and he's still a liability when he's forced to run back towards his own goal. Now, that's not to say that he's a bad footballer, because he does suit being at the center of a back three, but these are individual characteristics that don't suit Amorim's high-line and pressing system. Or what about Andre Onana, who many labeled as an excellent keeper for Inter Milan, leading them to a Champions League final? Well, he still maintained this identity as an eccentric goalkeeper who's good with the ball at his feet, and when you really need him to, he can make a camera-worthy save. But let's be real, Onana is extremely unreliable and still concedes silly goals for a keeper at this level. Truthfully, I think we should be going for someone like Marco Canasecchi from Atalanta, a keeper with great reflexes, positioning, and concentration. Plus, he doesn't make nearly the amount of mistakes that Onana makes. Regardless, Amorim can address these problems during preseason, putting focus on technical and mental methods of training, how players react to certain in-game situations, and he's already made it clear that the only players who can be at this club are the ones who want to fight for the club. Second, we're not in any European competition. I'm looking at this from a matchday perspective, and while I'm not trying to completely ignore the financial aspect of it, we have to play with the cards we've been dealt for this upcoming season. Less games should hopefully equal less injuries. During the 2023-24 season, United racked up a whopping 45 separate injuries, topping the league in that regard. Last season, we lost Amad Diallo, Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, and Mason Mount for lengthy periods of time during crucial parts of the season. And while every team suffers from injury problems, United's depth is not comparable to the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea. Now, the club is being proactive, as United is getting rid of Gary O'Driscoll, their head of medical services. Now, this is a painful period for Manchester United, but if we don't get through these growing pains now, we're never going to progress. If our guys can stay healthy, hopefully that will lead to more consistency in performances as well, and it'll definitely give Amorim a better idea of what his best 11 is. My third point is we're signing goal scorers. Signing Cunha and potentially Mbeumo signals United's intent to sign players that are proven to withstand the physicality of the Premier League but can score goals, something that we've severely lacked. Now, before Erik ten Hag was ultimately fired, Manchester United led the league in big chances missed, but they weren't scoring the amount of goals that they were supposed to. After Erik ten Hag was sacked, United briefly showed a much better goal-scoring output under Ruud van Nistelrooy, and a little bit better under Amorim, but mostly we couldn't turn those goals into positive results. Scoring only 44 total league goals for United is shambolic, and I'm purposely not including the Europa League because for all the goals we scored, when it came down to playing another English team in the final, we bottled it. These two forwards are smart for what we're trying to achieve, and I don't think they're going to take too long to adapt to the system, as they've both played in some variation of a 3 at the back, or in Cunha's case, more recently. I also believe these signings will help elevate Rasmus Højlund's game, where he can exploit the space left him behind by both of these dangerous players. And I urge United fans to give Højlund some patience. He didn't ask to be signed for the price tag he was signed for, he didn't ask to be United's only out-and-out striker during one of the worst periods of the club's history, and he's just 22. If we can sign a striker to replace him in the starting 11 and help take that goal-scoring pressure off of Højlund, I know he can return to his best form. But it can't stop there. We need improvements or quality backups in every single position on the pitch, and it's not going to happen all in one window. And this leads me to my last point, which is patience. Now this one is mostly dependent on the results, the fan base, and of course, the media. With United's lack of transfers so far this summer, we're going into next season with basically the same core group that finished 15th last year. We have to understand there's no magic potion that will change our circumstances, because when does anything truly great ever come easy? And to make something great, it has to be sustainable. Being able to still win trophies during the past 10 years is a saving grace, but it's never going to be enough. The Premier League is what we should be winning, or at least striving to win. Unfortunately, that's so far out of our reach that we have to be realistic. Let's see what the guys can do during the preseason tour with the time they spend perfecting the system. Also, let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think should realistically come into the club and who should leave the club. And also, I'd love to know your opinion on Ruben Amorim. Even if you're not a Manchester United fan, do you think that Ruben Amorim can be the guy to bring United back to the glory days? Let me know what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Your support means everything to me. God bless and have a wonderful day.